I am Miyamoto Musashi. From the moment I first gripped a wooden sword as a boy, I understood something few ever realize. True power is not found in the force of a strike, but in the mastery of oneself. Most warriors sharpen only their blades. I sharpen my mind. Many believe that victory belongs to the strongest arm or the sharpest weapon. They are wrong. Victory is a quiet force that begins and ends within. It is born in the silence before the first move, in the stillness before the first clash. It is the unseen current that pulls the battle toward you before a single sword is drawn. Throughout my life, I fought more than 60 duels and never lost. Yet I understood early on that the greatest victories were not won by bloodshed. They were secured through presence, timing, and understanding the opponent's mind. If I could defeat a man's spirit before our blades even met, the battle was already over. The silent warrior does not seek conflict. He moves with precision, provoking fear without raising his voice, inspiring hesitation without lifting his weapon. He dominates not through noise, but through calm. He conquers not by force, but by inevitability. In this world, there will always be those who bark loudly, who display their swords for admiration, who mistake rage for strength. Ignore them. Real strength is silent. Real power needs no announcement. Today, I will lead you through the forgotten path, the way of winning without fighting. These lessons are not for the weak-minded or the impatient. They are for those who understand that the truest form of victory leaves no scars, no blood, no noise, only unquestionable dominance. If you are ready, we will begin. Silence your heart. Empty your mind. Listen not only with your ears, but with your spirit. The way of the silent warrior begins now. I was not born a master of the way. When I first opened my eyes to this world in the village of Miyamoto, I was a boy like any other, except for one thing. I saw that noise did not win battles. Strength did not come from shouts, nor from the flailing of wild arms. True power was silent, like the flow of a hidden river beneath a mountain. From a young age, I trained alone. My first weapon was not crafted by a master swordsmith. It was a wooden stick, taken from the earth itself. I fought my first duel at the age of 13. My opponent was a trained samurai, a man who underestimated a boy. His arrogance was loud. My silence was deadly. With a single blow, before he could even react, I struck him down. It was then that I understood. Battles are not won in the clash of blades. They are decided long before the first step is taken. Victory belongs to those who master themselves first. While others sought honor through spectacle, I sought understanding. I watched, I listened, I studied the nature of conflict itself. Each duel I fought, I entered with no anger, no ego, no desire for recognition. Only the clarity of purpose, to prevail without being entangled by needless emotion. The world around me was chaotic. Lords fought over land, warriors fought over pride. Noise everywhere, yet I chose a different path. I chose stillness amidst the storm. I chose to win in silence. As I grew, so too did my mastery. I traveled the country, engaging in duels not for fame, but for refinement. I tested myself not against others, but against my own fear, my own hesitation. Each step, each battle, each breath led me closer to a simple, profound truth. The strongest warrior is not the one who strikes first, nor the one who strikes hardest. It is the one who strikes last, because he needed only one strike. This was the birth of the silent warrior, not through the lifting of a sword, but through the lifting of the mind. Remember this as we continue. The true battle is always fought and won within. Victory lies not in the sword, but in the mind. This is a lesson many warriors never learn, for they spend their lives perfecting only their outward techniques. They polish their swords until they shine. They build their muscles until they intimidate. Yet when the moment of truth arrives, they are defeated by fear, by doubt, by hesitation. I realized early that the true battlefield is unseen. It exists in the mind, before the first step is taken, before the first strike is thrown. When I faced an opponent, my aim was not to cut his flesh. It was to cut his spirit. Long before he drew his sword, I had already drawn him into a web of uncertainty. I observed the subtle tremor in his hands, the shallow breath betraying his fear. I understood that if I could occupy his mind with doubt, the fight was over before it began. You see, a man who doubts his victory is already halfway to defeat. In my duels, I did not merely react. I dictated the flow of thought. I moved slowly when others expected haste. I stood firm when others anticipated movement. Every action, or non-action, was a calculated strike against the mind of my opponent. There were times when my presence alone caused men to surrender, without a blow being exchanged. They felt the weight of their own uncertainty pressing down upon them, heavier than any blade. Understand this. The sword is merely an extension of the mind. If your spirit is unbreakable, your weapon is unstoppable. But if your spirit falters, no weapon in the world can save you. Victory belongs to the one who wins the unseen battle, the one who conquers fear, confusion, and hesitation within both himself and his adversary. Master the battlefield of the mind, and you will find that most battles never need to be fought at all. Why is silence deadlier than any weapon? Because silence creates fear, uncertainty, and reflection, all within the mind of your enemy. When a man shouts before he strikes, he exposes his desperation. When a man boasts before a duel, he reveals his weakness. Noise is a window into the soul, and a noisy soul is an unsettled one. I, Miyamoto Musashi, chose silence as my sharpest blade. When I entered the dueling grounds, I did not speak. I did not boast. I did not shout my intent. I stood calm, still watching. And in that unbearable silence, my opponents unraveled themselves. Silence forces a man to confront his own mind. Without the distraction of noise, he must listen to his own doubts, his own fears. He begins to question, why is he so calm? What does he know that I do not? Where will he strike? When will he move? This internal dialogue is more damaging than any external attack. It fractures focus. It breeds hesitation. And in combat, as in life, hesitation is death. The one who masters silence controls the rhythm of conflict. He dictates the tempo, forces the opponent to act out of fear rather than strategy. Each moment the enemy spends second-guessing himself, he moves closer to defeat. Understand, silence is not emptiness. It is full of control, full of strategy, full of invisible pressure. When you remain silent while others react with noise, you hold the advantage. You watch their emotions betray them. You see the gaps in their defenses long before a sword is even drawn. Use silence not merely as the absence of speech, but as the active presence of dominance. Stand firm, say nothing, reveal nothing, and watch as your enemies defeat themselves without you lifting a finger. In battle, in negotiation, in life, silence, while wielded, is deadlier than the sharpest blade. How do you defeat an opponent without lifting your sword? You make him defeat himself. I, Miyamoto Musashi, learned that the most efficient way to win a battle is not through force, but through fear. Fear is a corrosive poison that eats away at an opponent's mind long before a blade is ever drawn. The first step is presence. Walk into the space of conflict with absolute certainty. Let your demeanor radiate calm, unshakable confidence. Do not boast. Do not threaten. Simply exist, still and unbothered. In this silence, the enemy's mind begins to conjure images of defeat, failure, humiliation. The second step is unpredictability. Fear grows in the unknown. When your enemy cannot read you, he imagines the worst. A slight movement, an unreadable expression, a shift in stance. These subtle gestures sow seeds of doubt deeper than any loud proclamation ever could. The third step is patience. Do not rush to attack. Let fear build within the enemy like a rising tide. Every second that passes, every beat of silence, tightens the noose of his anxiety. He will begin to question himself. He will wonder why you have not struck. He will imagine traps where there are none, dangers that do not exist. Eventually, the pressure becomes unbearable. The enemy will make a mistake. He will overreach, act hastily, lose focus. And in that moment, his defeat is certain. I have faced many opponents who were stronger in body but weaker in spirit. They defeated themselves before I ever needed to move. Their minds crumbled under the weight of their own fear. And once the mind falls, the body quickly follows. Remember, true power is not displayed through rage, nor through reckless aggression. True power is demonstrated in your ability to stand calm while the world trembles around you. Master the art of creating fear, not through words, not through violence, but through unshakable presence. And you will find that many battles end before they even begin. Victory is not seized by force alone, it is captured by timing. I, Miyamoto Musashi, understood that even the mightiest strike is meaningless if delivered at the wrong moment. Power without timing is wasted effort. Speed without timing is reckless desperation. Mastery of timing begins with patience. The impatient warrior seeks to end the battle quickly, but haste blinds him to opportunity. The silent warrior waits. He watches every shift in the enemy's body, every flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. He feels the rhythm of the encounter, the ebb and flow of tension. The secret is simple. Do not move until victory is inevitable. Imagine two rivers converging. If one rushes forward blindly, it is swallowed by the greater current. But if it waits for the perfect moment, it merges with force and grace. Timing transforms mere action into unstoppable momentum. In my duels, I would often allow my opponents to tire themselves. I let them waste their energy in futile attacks. I let them expose their weaknesses in desperation. Then, when the precise moment arrived, I struck, once with certainty, ending the battle before it had truly begun. Timing is not hesitation. It is controlled patience. It is the ability to restrain your power until it can be unleashed with devastating effect. This principle extends beyond the battlefield. In negotiation, in leadership, in life itself, the one who masters timing rules the flow of events. He speaks when words will carry maximum weight. He acts when action will produce irreversible results. Those who are slaves to impulse act first and think later. Those who master themselves think first and act only when the time is ripe. Understand this. 1,000 wasted movements mean nothing compared to a single strike delivered at the perfect moment. To win without fighting, you must know when to move and when to wait. Patience is your blade. Timing is your victory. Victory is won not by overpowering the body, but by seizing control of the mind. I, Miyamoto Musashi, discovered that the true battleground lies within the enemy's thoughts. If you can master the currents of his mind, you will defeat him before he even draws his sword. When I faced an opponent, my first strike was never physical. It was psychological. I planted seeds of doubt, fear, and confusion. These seeds, once sown, grew rapidly within him, clouding his judgment and blinding him to reality. Control begins with anticipation. I studied my adversaries, reading their movements, their breathing, their subtle expressions. Every hesitation, every overconfidence, every flicker of anxiety revealed cracks in their mental armor. I did not need to attack their bodies. I merely needed to guide their minds toward self-destruction. A glance held too long, a step taken too slowly, a silence stretched beyond comfort. These small, deliberate actions unsettled my enemies more than any direct threat ever could. Once their minds wavered, the rest was inevitable. An opponent who second-guesses himself cannot strike true. An enemy filled with fear fights his own shadow. And a man overwhelmed by doubt will surrender his advantage without a blow being landed. This is the essence of true strategy. To win without exposing your own weaknesses, by exploiting the unseen vulnerabilities of your opponent's mind. The same principles apply beyond the battlefield. In business, in negotiation, in any contest of wills. Those who master perception, those who shape the emotions and expectations of others, wield true power. Remember this always. The sword is swift, but the mind is swifter. A single thought of fear, a single moment of hesitation, and the battle is already yours. Control the mind, and you control the outcome. Victory that is unseen is the purest form of mastery. I, Miyamoto Musashi, understood that the most powerful victories are those achieved without spectacle. Victories that leave no scars, no battles fought, yet change the world in your favor. When you defeat an opponent without him even realizing he has been defeated, you have achieved the highest form of dominance. The path to silent victory is subtle and deliberate. It begins with preparation, so thorough, so perfect, that conflict becomes unnecessary. Your mere presence, your unshakable calm, your absolute certainty dissolves resistance before it can form. In my journeys, there were times when enemies sought to challenge me, eager to test their strength against mine. Yet often, when they saw the stillness in my eyes, the unflinching certainty in my stance, their courage withered. They chose to walk away, to lower their swords, to invent reasons not to fight. They thought they had chosen to retreat. But in truth, I had already won. Understand, true victory is not found in the clash of blades, in the noise of conflict, or in the applause of others. True victory is found in the quiet certainty that you have shaped reality to your will without shedding blood, without raising your voice. The silent warrior seeks not validation from the crowd. He does not need the world to see his triumph. His strength lies in the fact that even without recognition, the result is the same, unquestioned supremacy. Apply this principle beyond battle, in negotiation, in leadership, in everyday life. Influence without domination, guide without force, win without visible struggle. The greatest victories leave no trace. They are felt, not seen. They are inevitable, not announced. Move through the world like the wind, unseen, unstoppable, undeniable. Win your battles silently, and you will become a force that no one dares to oppose. The principles of silent victory are not confined to the battlefield. They are timeless, and they apply to the challenges of modern life. I, Miyamoto Musashi, lived in an era where steel met steel. Today, you face battles of a different kind, in business, in relationships, within yourself. Yet the way to triumph remains unchanged. To win without fighting in the modern world, you must master the same arts I practiced centuries ago. First, control your presence. Enter every room, every meeting, every negotiation with the calm certainty of one who has already won. Do not boast. Do not argue. Let your demeanor speak louder than your words. People sense strength they cannot see but cannot deny. Second, dominate with silence. In a world addicted to noise and distraction, your stillness will unsettle others. Listen more than you speak. Observe more than you act. Gather information while others reveal themselves. In patience, you will find your opening. Third, master timing. In conversations, in decisions, in opportunities, move only when the advantage is clear. The impatient lose themselves in haste. The silent warrior waits until the enemy exposes their weakness. Fourth, create fear without aggression. When you carry yourself with absolute conviction, others feel it. They hesitate to challenge you. They second-guess their own strength. Your inner mastery becomes an invisible armor that deflects threats before they form. Finally, seek victories that leave no scars. In the modern world, brute force often destroys more than it wins. Influence through example. Led without domination. Win hearts and minds without ever needing to battle for them. Every negotiation, every challenge, every dream you pursue can be approached with the mindset of the silent warrior. The battlefield has changed, but human nature has not. Remember, the greatest victories are those that no one even notices. Only the silent warrior knows he has already won. Carry this spirit into your daily life, and you will move through the world unstoppable. The journey of the silent warrior is not an easy one, but it is the only path to true mastery. I, Miyamoto Musashi, walked this path alone. I chose silence over noise, patience over rage, strategy over force. I won battles not because I was the strongest, but because I understood that true strength comes from mastering oneself. You must now ask yourself, will you follow the way of the silent warrior? If you do, you will find that life transforms. Challenges will still arise, but they will no longer shake you. Enemies will appear, but they will no longer threaten you. Chaos will surround you, but within, you will remain as steady as a mountain. Victory will no longer be something you chase. It will become something you embody. Remember always, the greatest warrior is not the one who conquers others, but the one who conquers himself. Let your silence be louder than any shout. Let your stillness be more powerful than any storm. Let your calm be more terrifying than any battle cry. Move through the world like the hidden river, unseen, unstoppable, inevitable. When you master this way, you will become truly untouchable. Not because no one challenges you, but because no one can defeat you. You will be a silent warrior. Stand tall. Walk the path. Begin now. The world may never understand your power, but they will feel it. This is the true power of the silent warrior, and it is yours to claim.